Gentlemen, you're both professional fighters. I expect you to conduct yourself like a professional fighter. When I say break, I mean break. I want you to step back. I want you to protect yourselves at all times, and let's have a good, clean fight.
A staring war between Barry Audia there on your screen, his opponent, David Plowden. Plowden in the black trunks, the plowboy. 9-4, 4 knockouts. Barry Audia in the blue trunks, 15-0 with 12 knockouts, and no doubt the favorite of this crowd.
He is a big favorite in this part of the country. He's got very good knockout power, and for David Plowden, could be an uphill struggle.
This is scheduled for 10 rounds. Here in Tennessee, they will use the 10-point must system. The referee, Ed Hargis, will not be involved in the judgment if it goes the full 10. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. This is an 18-foot ring. We have finally found a phone booth to have some fights in.
This is a very small ring, so for the boxers tonight, they may not have all the room they would like.
A miss by Plowden with the left, but he connected with the right hand. Audia working the body here. He has 12 knockouts to his credit in his 15 straight wins. They call him the Pennington Pounder from Pennington Gap, Virginia. He just took a right to the body and a right to the head from David Plowden, who's trying to press the attack here. Plowden from Florence, South Carolina. 4 knockouts in his 9 wins. He has 4 defeats. One of those defeats to Buster Drayton, who will be seen later on the telecast against Clint Jackson. Matter of fact, Drayton had to get off the canvas to beat David Plowden, and that was recently.
Well, this is our theme night of junior middleweights, I guess, and we even have a couple that have fought each other in the past. Plowden is no pushover, and at this point, he is a very good test for somebody like Audia, and certainly belongs in the ring with him. There's a good jab by Plowden. He also has a very good left hook to both the body and the head. There's that left hook I talked about.
Audia, a little slow starting here in the opening round. Looks a little cold. And that's a trait of him.
That is one of his trademarks. I was just about to say that.
Now he's trying to get warmed up. Couple of hard shots, one of them too low. And grimacing in pain is David Plowden. And the referee, Ed Hargis, tells Barry Audia to go to the neutral corner. They're going to take some time here and let Plowden take a couple of deep breaths. He says he's okay. We continue.
That was definitely a left hook. That left hook was definitely low. Some indecision on the referee's part. Took him a long time to step in, and if Audia had not been a gentleman about it, he could have walked in there and cleaned up on Plowden.
A hard jab by Plowden. Plowden has got a heavy left hand.
He's not known for that punch, but he's using it well in this fight.
Plowden got his leg entangled, his right leg with Audia. Had to shake that off, too. So we're heading down the stretch of a quizzical opening round here. Barry Audia's body work a little too low in the opening round, below the belt. That shook up David Plowden in the black trunks. He had to take a couple of seconds. They stopped time. We are now into round 2 of the scheduled 10-rounder. A couple of power hitters here who will try to wear each other down. However, Plowden is exhibiting a very strong and accurate left jab. For undefeated Barry Audia, he has to get past that.
One of Audia's problems has been that he is hit too often. Has good power and pretty good technique on offense, but defensively, still some shortcomings.
In the blue trunks, Barry Audia, 24 years old, 15 straight wins, 12 knockouts. His manager and trainer is Ace Miller. And he boxes mostly out of the state of Tennessee, even though he's from Pennington Gap, Virginia. Left hook to the head. Make it 2 straight left hooks by Barry Audia. That backed up Plowden. Plowden takes the right hand and goes down. Plowden got up quickly. He'll take the mandatory 8 count from Ed Hargis. So here in the second round, 2 left hooks by Barry Audia and then a right hand. Plowden took that right hand backing up. And he smacks Audia with a left hook of his own. But Audia comes right back at him.
And there's still danger here for Audia because while Plowden's been hurt, we saw Plowden come back with a big left hook. Audia has to be careful about trading. Plowden is not short on heart or courage, and we will probably see that here. And he's collecting himself pretty well after that knockdown.
He took 3 hard whacks in a row, 2 left hooks and a right hand, got up quickly, and with a little less than a minute to go, doesn't look too bad for the punching he took this round. However, Audia has got him backing up.
He has slowed down a lot. There's no doubt about that. Big right by Audia, and that hurts him again.
Plowden sags a bit, he's bobbing and weaving, trying to buy some time. Audia's got him on the ropes right in front of us. And that left hand to the body hurts Plowden. He goes down. Ed Hargis is over him. Plowden gets on his knees. The count reaches 6. He'll take the mandatory 8. Remember, here in Tennessee, there is a 3 KO rule, but it's not necessary. The referee stops the fight. Plowden had his hands down and wasn't in a mood to continue. So, Barry Audia wins his 16th in a row on his 13th knockout.
And some protests from the corner of Plowden. His manager and trainer not too happy about the fact that the fight was stopped. Those fans are happy, though, because this is Barry Audia country. But perhaps Plowden feels that this fight was stopped prematurely. He was able to get up after that wicked body shot, was in some trouble, and you can see him now. Still doesn't look like he's in great shape, but I think he felt that he could have continued in this fight. But judgment decision by Ed Hargis, the referee.
Let's get the official time.
2 minutes, 42 seconds of the second round. The referee stops the contest. Your winner, Barry Audia.
The Pennington Pounder puts down the plowboy, David Plowden, in the second round, 2:42. The second knockdown of the round, and the referee, Ed Hargis, stopped the fight. Barry Audia now 16-0 with 13 knockouts. You're watching Top Rank Boxing. PC video, San Antonio, Texas, and that ought to be rousing. The U.S. Armed Forces Boxing Championship, Saturday, April 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time, here on ESPN. This ballroom at the Hyatt Regency in Nashville is packed, and apparently they don't have enough seats. The fire marshals came in and said they can't sell any more seats. Let's get the introductions to the next bout from Mike Atkins.
In the second bout of the evening, 8 rounds of boxing in the junior middleweight division. Introducing first from the blue corner, weighing in at 153.5 pounds, a record of 9 wins, 2 losses, 7 by knockout. From Meridian, Mississippi, Tommy Rogers. His opponent in the red corner, weighing in at 154 pounds, a record of 7 wins and no losses. From Pennington Gap, Virginia, the Pennington Pounder, Barry Audia. The referee for this bout, Tommy Brooks.
I know him, Tommy Brooks. Very familiar to Tommy Brooks, a former fighter who worked for Top Rank and helped us on our telecast for quite a while, is the referee of this bout. And Tommy in the center of the ring is giving his instructions to Barry Audia in the blue trunks. He is 8-0 with 7 knockouts. He's from Knoxville, Tennessee, trained by Ace Miller, who works with John Tate, an amateur with over 200 fights. And Tommy Rogers in the red is from Meridian, Mississippi.
When you look for Rogers perhaps to start a little bit quicker. He's an aggressive fighter, likes to come forward, whereas Audia is kind of a boxer puncher who likes to feel things out a little bit in the early going. So we may see Rogers pick up the pace a little bit more in this first round.
Rogers in the red, 9-2 with 7 knockouts. So we are looking at 2 junior middleweights with high knockout ratios. In his 8 wins, Audia has 7 knockouts. In Rogers' 9 wins, he has 7 knockouts. So don't blink.
And of course, as soon as I said Rogers would pick up the pace, Audia came out fast. Inevitably, that would happen. It's like saying a free throw shooter has an 84% completion and then he misses one.
Good right uppercut by Rogers. Audia responding with an overhand right. We're in the first round. Left hook by Rogers. Right to the body by Rogers.
Well, as you said, both these fighters have good power, and they're both also fine amateurs. So Audia with an 85-15 record, and Rogers 52-12. So they've had a lot of experience, both as an amateur and some as a pro.
An excellent collision here of hard punchers, both almost the same age. Rogers is 23, Audia is 24. They're both 5 feet 8 inches. And at the same level in their professional careers. So it's a good collision here with Rogers in the red showing us a very, very heavy left hand, both with the hook and with the jab. We're halfway through the opening round. Notice that left hand of Rogers. He's sticking Audia pretty good with it. And they're not light jabs. This is an 18-foot ring, and right now Audia is using all of it. I think he has tasted the leather of Tommy Rogers enough to understand that he is in the ring with a guy who has heavy shots.
Well, there's no question this 18-foot ring for these kind of bangers makes it perfect for an action fight.
Good action-packed opening round. A couple of junior middleweights. Of course, to remind you later in the telecast, a 10-rounder, scheduled for 10 at least, with Clint Jackson taking on Al Clay. Right uppercut by Rogers. That snapped the head of Barry Audia in the blue trunk. That's round 1. We'll be right back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Get into the swing of things with ESPN in April. Your Total Sports Network tees off live with the New Orleans Open, our first coverage of the PGA Tour. Pro football is still making news. ESPN brings you exclusive live coverage of the NFL Draft for the 3rd straight year. And it's April in Dallas as John McEnroe defends his title during a week's worth of tennis from Reunion Arena. You're also invited for a special look at the college hoop stars of the future on the Derby All-Star High School Basketball Classic. April also means 5 more live top-ranked boxing cards, plus exciting Stanley Cup playoff action. And there's more. Catch the LPGA Orlando Ladies Classic and our coverage of NASCAR's Northwestern Bank 400. ESPN's April showers you with WCT tennis from Houston, more kicks from PKA Karate, championship swimming and gymnastics, armed forces boxing, and the Martin Luther King track and field meets. A month's worth of sports anytime on ESPN.
Round 2 in Nashville, Tennessee. We're looking at a pair of junior middleweights, the 154-pound level. That's Barry Audia in the blue trunks, Tommy Rogers in the red. Audia with a big right hand to start the round, and he got clipped by a left hook from Rogers in response.
Well, that's the first we've seen of that lead straight right hand from Audia, and it landed. So maybe we'll see it again in this round.
Notice how Audia is circling to the left of Tommy Rogers. Rogers has shown him some power already. Audia from Pennington Gap, Virginia, and he bills himself as the Pennington Pounder.
Got a lot of nicknames here tonight, I'll tell you.
As an amateur, Audia was 85-15, the Southern Golden Gloves champion. And as a pro, Audia is 8-0 with 7 knockouts. Just a minute gone here in the second round.
And we've seen Rogers do some very effective work inside, and that is where he likes to be. And there was a good left hook to the body. He likes to work to the body and also the head inside. That right hand again by Audia. Again, the straight right hand. Left hand of Rogers is a little bit low, and he's paying the price because of it.
A distinct change in the tempo of the fight. In the first round, Rogers was very effective. Audia has come back here in round 2. The lead right hand to the body by Audia, and at the end of the exchange, the left hook to the head.
Well, Audia's changed this fight around with that lead right hand. He came right out with it in the second round, landed it twice on Rogers, and it's turned this fight around temporarily at least.
Rogers with that right uppercut again, as he employed in the opening round. And Audia seems to have a weakness against that blow. And you notice that heavy left jab. Just a minute to go in round 2.
And Rogers is starting to use his jab again. That was a punch that made things effective for him in the first round. He's going back to it now in the latter part of the second round.
We told you about the amateur record of Barry Audia. Well, Tommy Rogers, as an amateur, was 52-12. Not bad. He's from Meridian, Mississippi. Here in the second round, he has let Audia get off first. And notice how Rogers is really slowed down here in round 2.
And inside, Audia is doing a little better work than he did in that first round. Because inside, he was getting eaten up by Rogers.
Here in Tennessee, they score by the 10-point must system. 3 judges at ringside involved in the balloting. 3-punch combination by Audia. A couple of jabs and a right hand. Audia going out of the second round with lots of noise.
Want to know how I landed this job? I'll show you. Here, in the National Business Employment Weekly, look, hundreds of career advancement positions from every regional edition of the Wall Street Journal. The best jobs in the country, all across the country, every week. Executive, managerial, and professional. At salaries from $25,000 to $250,000. And articles every week that help you pick just the right job. Zero in on it and land it. If somebody tells you opportunity knocks only once, don't believe it. It knocks hundreds of times every week in the National Business Employment Weekly. Pick it up at your newsstand today. If you prefer, you can get the next 8 issues of the National Business Employment Weekly rushed to you by first-class mail for $29. Call toll-free in the continental U.S. 800-228-5505. That's 800-228-5505. Major credit cards accepted. Jobs this good don't stay open long, so call today.
Round 3 in Nashville, Tennessee. 2 junior middleweights are giving us a show here. Barry Audia in the blue, Tommy Rogers in the red. First 2 rounds, very much different. In the opening round, Rogers was effective. For the second round, it was Audia's turn. Either fighter cut or down.
Tommy Rogers comes into this fight after having fought as recently as March 26th when he won a 6-round decision, and I think he looks a little fatigued at this point. He may be fighting a little bit too quickly without a long enough layoff.
No question that Rogers hits heavily, but in that second round, he was beaten to the punch by Audia, who had a slow opening round, exploded in round 2.
Well, Audia certainly picked up the pace. He's the aggressor now, and he's starting to put punches together in nice combinations.
That was a pretty combination. Left-right by Audia to the head of Tommy Rogers. The reminder here is Audia connects with 2 right hands, that this is part of a new tournament.
That's right, and these young men are in the prelims of the junior middleweight category. And if they win, the winner of this will get a chance to fight for the Southern Boxing Council title.
So we have 4 fighters in 11 weight categories battling against each other, and in the process, not only getting experience, but also getting recognition. And we're taking a look tonight at some of the tournament fights here as we begin in Nashville. Now, Audia is having his way against Rogers. Suddenly, Rogers has become cautious, and I believe it's because of his combinations that he is facing.
Well, he's been hurt by Audia. There's no question about it. And I think that, combined with some fatigue, has made him a sitting duck in this round. And Ace Miller is urging his fighter on. He thinks he can take him out in this round.
Rogers making a classic mistake by bending over, and Audia cleaning up by shooting uppercuts.
And that's a punch that Rogers was able to land very effectively early in the fight. Double left hook by Audia.
Audia with the lead right hand, and Rogers is hurt. Audia's trying to clean up. Audia just pounding Tommy Rogers. Rogers comes back with 2 punches, a right to the head, a left to the body. But wow, what a barrage from Barry Audia.
Tremendous combinations there, and I might point out that different from the last fight, Tommy Brooks was in there very close watching what was going on and knew not to stop the action at that point, and sure enough, Rogers came back with a flurry. There's some blood coming from, I think, Rogers' face, though we haven't got a chance to see it yet.
It's from Rogers' nose. He's bleeding from the nostrils heavily. And there's blood all over the shoulders of Barry Audia, but it is Rogers' blood. Rogers is hurt as we come down to the end of the round. Look out, they're in the neutral corner. Audia setting him up. And it looks like Rogers will survive the round.
I'm Johnny Bench. This is Krylon Spray Paint, the other leading national brand. And here comes my fast pitch, so watch close. Krylon Special Formula goes on smooth, just like a professional finish. And just 12 minutes later, it's dry to the touch. No runs, no drips, no errors. The other brand's still tacky after 1 hour. Let's see it again. Krylon dry after 12 minutes, other brand still tacky after 1 hour. Did you catch that? Krylon, for a smooth, fast professional finish.
Why do so many people now turn to cable news network for their news?
I turn to it on the disasters we've had lately, and I've gotten more information.
They're going to stay on this story because it's big, and they're going to be there, whereas the other networks won't.
On the live coverage, I don't think there's any comparison with CNN.
For millions of people, CNN is the news, cable's most important network. Turn to CNN on your system, or contact your cable operator to get it.
You're looking at some slow-motion action from the previous round as Barry Audia pounded Tommy Rogers. Rogers had blood coming from both nostrils as the bell sounded, ending round 3. Back live, round 4, scheduled for 8. And Audia in the blue has been very sharp the last 2 rounds.
There's no question Tommy Rogers needs to do something dramatic and early in this round to get himself back in the fight. He tried right there with a straight right hand that landed. If he doesn't back Audia up at this point, he's in big trouble, and he's doing it.
Rogers now trying to rally.
Little bit desperate. He was about a foot short with that last right hand, so obviously the punishment he's taken has taken its toll on him.
And Tommy Brooks, the referee, is ordering Rogers to the neutral corner. Time has stopped. And now they're bringing him over to the ring position, who's actually getting in the ring to examine him, make sure that he's already all right to continue. And Rogers wanted to continue a little too early. Time back in.
Say, the referees have had their hands full tonight. There's no question about that.
Wild and Wooly from Nashville. A couple of junior middleweights pounding pretty good.
This is going to be a night of bangers. We got an 18-foot ring and some hungry fighters in this tournament who want to win tonight and get a chance at the finals, during which time, if they win, they can win $2,000 if they win the Southern Championship. So a lot of motivation tonight for these fighters.
Audia in the blue started slowly. Matter of fact, I thought he lost the first round. But then he came on in the second and the third, was especially effective in the third round. And to Rogers' credit, he has been able to take the pounding and still has been able to deliver heavy blows. My criticism of Rogers is that he has a talented left hand. He jabs very heavily, and it stopped Audia in the first round on his rushes. But he hasn't been using the jab. He's been slugging with Audia, and that's a mistake.
I think you're right, and he also didn't follow up. The jab usually is used to set up other punches, and he never did. Good uppercut inside by Rogers.
And that is Audia's only weakness, it seems to me. He's susceptible to that right uppercut. He's been hit with it several times. There it is again. And Audia comes back with his own right uppercut. Remember, Audia is 8-0 with 7 knockouts. Rogers did a pivot and got the way of Audia. And now Tommy Brooks, the referee, on the verbal command, splits him up.
Yeah, Audia was a little over anxious there and almost got caught and nailed here in the corner. Both fighters, I would think, a little bit fatigued at this point. This has been a torrid pace over 3.5 rounds.
Left hook by Audia. We're in the fourth round, coming to the close of the round, halfway through the scheduled 8-rounder. It has been very entertaining. Audia with 2 right hands, a 3rd right hand. Rogers still on his feet, slamming away. As we come to the bell.
This is where I bring engines I can't fix. Bent valves, maybe $400. New crankshaft, about $600. And this one.
This one, even I can't repair.
So why not look after your car right, including changing the oil and putting in a new Fram oil filter when you're supposed to. Fram filter doesn't cost much. Coming here does. But the choice is yours. You can pay me now.
Or pay me later.
Now, sir.
Bob Weeks, it's 11 a.m. Is your antiperspirant keeping you drier?
Yeah, of course. It's new Old Spice Solid. Works overtime.
Get over it. Bob Weeks, it's 3 p.m. Still drier?
Yeah, it's still working overtime.
Look. New Old Spice Solid keeps you drier than the leading aerosols for over 24 hours. Bob Weeks, it's 5 p.m. Is it still working overtime?
Yep, but I'm not.
New Old Spice Solid, the antiperspirant that works overtime to keep you drier.
In the previous round, Barry Audia in the blue really hurt Tommy Rogers in the red, but Rogers continues, and it's amazing that Rogers has not gone down.
Incredible. He's been hurt several times. Tommy Brooks has looked at him carefully about the possibility of stopping the fight, but hasn't done so. A man who would be very proud of Audia's performance, Don Marshall, who trained him up until a year ago when he passed away. His 2 daughters, Kathy and Karen, are having a birthday today, and they're celebrating it by watching Audia win this fight.
We are in the round 5. It's scheduled for 8. They use the 10-point must system here in Tennessee. Just moments ago, Al, when you were talking, again, Rogers stood up Barria with just his left jab, a very heavy left jab, and Rogers is not using it enough.
I agree that he should be using that punch to keep his opponent off him, to keep Audia off him, and also to set up some other punches, which he's not doing.
And Rogers hit too quickly on the break, and Tommy Brooks, the referee, gave him a warning. Rogers still hitting heavily despite the pounding he's been taking. It's a very competitive bout between these 2 junior middleweights. Barry Audia, 8-0 with 7 knockouts. Tommy Rogers in the red trunks. Rogers 9-2 with 7 knockouts. We're in round 5. And neither of them are getting arm weary.
Well, they're continuing at an incredibly rapid pace. And it's just astounding, really, that Tommy Rogers is still in this fight. 3 or 4 times he's been on the verge of going down and looked practically like he was out on his feet, but he's still there. A lot of courage on his part.
There's blood all over both fighters, and it's from the nostrils of Tommy Rogers. Rogers there let his guard down in the clinch and took a right hand, just took a right uppercut. That's a slip. Barry Audia slipped, and Tommy Brooks very quick with his signal. This is the way it's been since the opening bell, if you've just joined us. A couple of knockout artists here, toe-to-toe.
Tommy Rogers had his way in the first round, but since then it's been all Barry Audia. He's been a real ring technician.
As we come down to round 5, they continue to pound the body. We'll be right back.
Start your Thursday on ESPN with another informative edition of Sports Forum. Join host Len Berman and company for some spirited debate and pointed opinion. Then it's the excitement of live Stanley Cup playoff action when Dino Ciccarelli and the Minnesota North Stars shoot it out against the Chicago Blackhawks. Sports Center follows. Stay with your Total Sports Network for the most comprehensive sports news program on television. We've got scores, analysis, and much, much more. All Thursday on ESPN.
Opening round Stanley Cup playoff action checks in Thursday on ESPN. Minnesota North Stars and Calder Cup hopeful Neil Broughton look for another trip to the finals when they face off against Dennis Savard and the Chicago Blackhawks. Live.
It's a battle of the 1950s when the New York Football Giants try to outsmart the Brooklyn Dodgers in All-Star Sports Challenge, Friday, ESPN.
Round 6, junior middleweights. Barry Audia in the blue, Tommy Rogers in the red. All that blood is from the nose of Tommy Rogers, who just took a right hand from Audia.
Well, that's the punch that turned this fight around back in the second round. The big straight right hand, and it just rocked Tommy Rogers again. But give him credit, he came back fighting.
The first round belonged to Rogers, the next 3 to Audia. The 5th was a sort of standoff as both fighters were catching their breath. The right eye of Rogers is now swollen. It is not shut. It's beginning to swell.
Well, he's taking some big right hands. Let's take a look at the scoring, how I've got this fight scored. I've got Audia at 49-46, and he's trying to make it academic by putting Tommy Rogers out.
Audia is very strong.
He is a strong fighter, and Tommy Rogers has taken some incredible shots. And you know, Sal, I'll go back to the beginning of that second round. The very first 10 seconds, Audia came out, fired 2 straight rights. They shook Tommy Rogers. This fight has never been the same since.
Brooks warning Rogers for the second time about hitting on the break. Yes, Audia took a good look at Rogers in the opening round, and it has really been Audia's fight since then. And now he's chasing Rogers. Rogers got him cornered. Look at Audia turn him around.
Very nice move on his part. Looked like a fighter that had more than the meager experience he's had, really, of only 7 pro fights.
But we remind you, Audia 85-15 as an amateur. So
both these fighters have good amateur credentials, and again, we see how important that is. That a fighter with only 7 pro fights can be much more polished in the ring than we would expect because of all that amateur experience.
Audia is 24 years old, 5'8". Rogers is 5'8", and Audia continues to pound Rogers. You can see there's plenty of time. Rogers taking in the corner, goes down on 1 knee. Tommy Brooks moves Audia to the neutral corner and starts his count. It's 8, 9, up at 9. Rogers escapes that action, and he doesn't look like he wants to continue. It's all over. He stops the fight. It's all over.
Well, a happy Barry Audia as we see him there, stopping Tommy Rogers here in the 6th round, and I think Rogers just had enough. He had taken some tremendous, tremendous punishment, and in Audia's corner, there's nothing but joy, and a very impressive performance, and for Tommy Rogers, a disappointment.
Let's take a look at how it ended. Here in the 6th round, Audia took advantage of Rogers being out of position. He missed with the left hand. His jaw was dangling out in space, and Audia really took advantage of that. And that left hand to the right side of Rogers, and then the right hand to the left side of Rogers, stopped the show.
Well, again, it was that right hand lead that really did the job. We're going to get another angle of this. And here we see Tommy Rogers left, and boom, there's that right hand. And boy, that right is the punch that just hurt Tommy Rogers throughout these 6 rounds.
A 6th round technical knockout. It had been scheduled for 8. Let's get the official time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time. 2 minutes, 14 seconds of the 6th round. The winner by technical knockout, Barry Audia.
Well, we've had 2 fights here in Nashville. Oddly enough, both technical knockouts, both at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. We'll be right back with more top-ranked boxing from Nashville after this pause on your #1 source for sport.
There's a fine white wine that's great with America's favorite